Hello, a warm welcome to Conny Decorates today. Exactly, very quick today. Today we have made some Easter decorations. This is another upcycling of our Christmas wreath. And here it is now. A very natural Easter decoration with succulents and eggs and bark and hay and moss in your life. If you want to know how this Easter theme works, stay tuned because we will show you now. And these are the things we need today, and down here we'll show you. This is the wooden bowl, which is used repeatedly. And I believe we last had the Christmas decorations in it. And then we had the tulips, right? And we had already partially undecorated this Christmas wreath. You can see it here too, and only the cones and the other base elements were left. And today we will rearrange it again, meaning we want to bring an old wreath back into the Easter spirit. And here on this side, you know, I have the dried moss. This is really the moss that I always had in the old decorations, which I take out. And it's really still perfect, and these are always the pieces I have outside, which are relatively wet. And yes, then I always have a box outside with tree bark, which I just took with me. And what I definitely have here, a bag with flower bulbs, which I always cut off. And then they are simply planted outside next year, or even this year. And here on the other side we have, in fact, it used to be a bird bath. Exactly. And the two birds fell off. It couldn't be sold. And that's why I thought it's a great base, like a plate, so you can use anything else. But I found it really super beautiful because it has such a vintage look. And I love succulents. Those who have been following our films for a while or our videos know that we always indeed, yes. Especially in summer, we use succulents, either house leeks, which are native succulents, or those from the south, the desert succulents. And we just got them at Hof Olkers. I also find the colors really beautiful. And then I thought, come on, this could make a great Easter decoration. And then we have the goose eggs here again. And here below from last year, I got them in rows. I still have those too. And then we got this crown at Hof Olkers. I also find it totally cute. It's super, super practical. You can open it a little bit at the front here so you can get the plate in better, and I always find it very nice. You can integrate it into any planting and put something in the front here, or a floating candle. And what I just found here is this felt ribbon. I was leaning a bit towards this white one because of the eggshell, and this rose with the quail eggs. But I'll see if I use them later, then I always have the leftovers. This is our jute fabric here. I also have it behind me. I use it repeatedly. And yes, that's it. And I would say, let's get started. Before we get started, we have to say once again, we are really very sorry. We had a very, very long-standing problem with the sound, right, Micha?
Yes.
It was beeping. And even during editing, we thought this can't be true. We tried everything. We don't know what caused it. It should be working now, and we hope it stays that way. So dear ones, please forgive us for the beeping sound we had earlier. So now let's get started. I came up with this idea to simply make an Easter decoration with succulents because a subscriber wrote to me who lives in Chihuahua. That's down there in Texas in the desert. And she wrote, wow, you have such great plants. And I said, you also have great plants. But then I thought, let's use the succulents, the sedum, the desert plant, and just make an Easter decoration out of it. And now I'm going to take this old wreath that we had already partially undecorated. I think we had balls and such in it. I don't even remember anymore. And now I'm just taking off the remaining cones from the wreath. Actually, I was being eco-friendly. I just did it, but this is the floral paper. It's really only been used once. I had cut flowers in it, and now I'm placing it in the bowl to get a bit of height. Because the wreath isn't that big. You could also use a hay wreath if you have one, or make one yourself. I think that's really great too, but we're doing it this way now. I'm stuffing the bottom with paper. Then I take the bark and carefully break it here. A few pieces of bark off. I very carefully position them here in front. Then I very gently take the dry moss that we already had in the bowl and lay it out here first. Here is the mass moss. I didn't have much of it left in the bowl. I simply fill it up here. It dries out perfectly and is wonderful. And then the bark, and I just want it everywhere here, a little on the side. And now you could also, I still have here, these old small pieces of the fabric would also be totally optimal. If you had it in light now, I always use this one actually. You can also wonderfully fringe it on the sides here. Then it gets a really great vintage look. And exactly that I'll lay out here first. And the remaining bark I have also on the side. Now you have an absolutely natural height and it's perfect. So I'll place the wreath here now. Look, you can see that well, right?
From the front.
Yes, like that. Now we can place the wreath here wonderfully. That means we have a great height. You can take any container, you can use zinc tubs or whatever, and use whatever you have. This is just an idea. And I had it and I decorated again and again like this. Now we have this bird bath here and I think it fits here. I find it wonderful on the wreath. That means we already have something here like a little person or a figure. Maybe you could also stick a bit of hay in here. I don't at first, but I still think it's good. I always find that when you decorate, it just comes naturally off as you do it. And then you see, wow, that could fit well into the decoration. And I think if we put in just very small tufts here where we have the little gaps, just a little bit of hay, then it already gets this Easter look and this very natural Easter look, and also a nice little brightness. And I'm going to stick it into the holes here for now. So, and now I've stuffed a little bit of hay everywhere here, and really only in the lower area, so not up here. And I really like it a lot. And now I'm just going to turn it again so you can see, just making a little space here. And now comes the upper level, and I will also use the moss there. And indeed, I lay my moss, the damp moss that I have, upside down. That means we have the base for our succulents here. Even if you want to plant the succulents up here, they have cactus soil. And this soil that I have here with these succulents is enough for me. I just want to break it up a little and place it in here. Normally, as I said, when we plant the succulents, we use cactus succulent soil. But here, because the bowl is so shallow, it makes a wonderful, wonderful base. Sorry. And they can grow really well here. Look, here's a little baby, a small offshoot. And here too, I just carefully break up the soil and place the succulent in it. Now, of course, one must not forget, I originally had the idea to put the crown on here, and I'm not quite sure, Micha, do you think it fits well on there? Yes, we can try it out, right? Yes, we said without the crown. We'll just do it naturally without the crown. The crown will come at another time. Now I have 3 succulents here. This one is a bit taller, so I'll place it towards the back because it has a bit more root structure. And now I'll fill in these corners with moss. We still have the beautiful goose eggs. And here I have one that was already broken. It was decorated before. And now I definitely want to incorporate a goose egg, which indeed has 2 parts, into the decoration here. And I'll just see, I'll absolutely position both of them here. And just like on the plate, I'll simply place a small piece of moss inside. And I really, really want to include a succulent in there as well, in fact. Okay, it has a bit more soil, so I'll take the succulent first and use a little moss for the height, because then it fits perfectly. Now you can just tuck in a tiny bit more moss here, or you could leave it as is. The height is important, of course, and I think it already blends in quite well here. And here I take the other eggshell from up there, as it's just too much for me, and put a small dab of hot glue here, then quickly onto the tree bark. I'll let it dry a bit. And here I'll do it just like with the other succulent. I'm just putting a tiny bit of moss in here for the height, because there's not much root structure, but it's still too high. Okay, that means we won't put any moss in there, succulent on top. And now I'll just add moss around the outside to stabilize it. Now we have all the succulents in. As for how I water them, I use a large syringe and target the root structure directly, just giving a squirt, and the moss stores the water perfectly, making them very resilient and easy to care for, requiring little maintenance. So using a syringe is of course perfect and wonderful. Now I'm taking our old flower bulbs. This is always a beautiful decorative item for a season. When they have finished blooming, as I said, I remove the green part on top, and the bulbs can be decorated here again in groups. Look here at the small crocuses, the bulbs, here the daffodil, a large bulb, and yes, I think it's a great decorative item. And as I said, I will simply place a few small groups here again. And what is always very, very nice is that you can really do it carefully. So the way I do it, I also do it with succulents when I fix them with glue. And with the bulbs, I definitely do the same, applying the glue, waiting a moment for the heat to lessen so it cools down. And then you can carefully glue the bulb on as well. Or you take a toothpick, as have it if needed, and carefully stick it into the bulb. I'll show that again briefly. And then you can, for example, stick it into the wreath again perfectly. Always be careful when threading through so it doesn't come out on the other side. And now I'm doing my decoration here. Not just up here, but on the side as well. A few onions are also being added now. And pink doesn't fit after all, because I actually forgot the felt bag. I originally wanted to wrap it around the wreath beforehand to add a bit of color and brightness, and I really forgot that here. But I think it's perfectly fine as it is, because we really have it here again. This jute fabric in these brown tones. And then at some point we'll add some really nice colors again. And that's why we said the natural quail eggs fit wonderfully in terms of tone, because it's really supernatural here now. So pink, I'll just show that again, wouldn't really fit now. It would be better if you had this color tone included somewhere here. And we will now glue these quail eggs in here as well. And groups are always very practical when you just place one here like this. You know, I like it when you make it look a bit like it's hatching and keep the shell a little bit too. Or just put a little bit on it, and then it becomes really natural. Instead of a vintage crown. Incredibly, this now goes in a completely different direction. I'm now carefully taking this silver rabbit, but I think because it's not shiny, but rather a matte vintage silver, it fits well into this natural decoration and with the natural plate. And I would say, Micha, the table decoration for our living room is finished. And there we have it again, a very simple and quick Easter decoration.
For Micha.
Very, very quick and very great, he said. And of course, exactly. Dear ones, and if we were able to inspire you today, packed with lots of nature, and now for Easter. And very versatile with every tone or with every color you like. We ended up with silver here, which we didn't expect at all. But sometimes it's just like that. Dear ones, we would of course be very happy about a thumbs up if it inspired you today as well. And feel free to follow us on Instagram, Facebook or Pinterest, because there are always daily highlights and beautiful new pictures. Laura always does that and we are really happy about it. So dear ones, I'm excited. Or if you decorate yourself, feel free to send pictures via Messenger. I always take a look at them. Sometimes I reply a bit later if I'm working, then I can't manage it immediately. So please don't be upset. But we are always really happy, right, Micha? Exactly. So we are fully into the Easter theme here and look forward to decorating with and for you again in the coming days. You're Conny, and exactly, dear ones. So see you then. Bye.
Que matemos la curiosidad, eso sí, baby, si se nos da, será lo que será,